and I was developing my teaching practice too in the school Jorge Eliezer Gaitán Sede Monpost. My students were 8th graders, and this was the classroom where my practice took place.
The high school is located in Porvenir neighborhood. It's a mixed school. It offers primary and secondary education in the morning and afternoon shift. It's a big school. It has some green areas and there are 3 courts. In my classroom, there were 41 students. They are between 13 and 14 years old. In the classroom, there were just 2 fans and the desks weren't enough. I remember that during 2 classes, 3 students had to sit on the floor. Also, there weren't audiovisual aids. There were 2 big windows, and that was a downside because students got distracted. Other students passed in front of the classroom. They said some phrases and the others reacted in a bad way. At the beginning of my practice, the learners' behavior was very bad. They didn't obey and pay attention to me. They sat down next to their partners and they were talking all the time. So it was necessary to seat them in different rows. As I am a young teacher, they sometimes said to me some inappropriate comments, but I explained them that I was their teachers and they had to be careful with their words. They felt embarrassed and said to me that they were sorry. It was a very difficult course. They were so violent and rude. They didn't respect others' opinions. They broke down or drew things in their classmates' notebooks. Some students didn't like to go to the board because they were afraid that their classmates hide them their backpacks or pencil cases. However, this experience has been rewarding because of several reasons. There were some troublemakers at the beginning, but they changed a lot at the end of the practice. They led the activities and they suggested their classmates to be quiet and pay attention. I felt on top of the world when they did that. I congratulated them and told them about how good their behavior was. Students had different abilities. They were good at drawing, singing, painting, playing soccer, speaking English, memorizing words, and so on. They talked about their abilities and they felt proud of them. I can foresee that if they use those abilities in a good way, they are going to be excellent professionals. They just need help and commitment to continue doing it. In my view, as future teachers, we are going to face difficult problematics because our region has been affected by the violence for many years, and I have noticed that students are more violent now. Maybe it's a consequence of the family's degradation. They are growing alone and there is lack of love. Nobody is in charge of them at home because their parents are working and grandparents have died or they don't want to do it, etc., etc. Thus, teachers have all that responsibility inside their classrooms nowadays. Teachers are called to satisfy those necessities. We need to teach values and resilience in order to provide them with tools to face the real world and the problematics. Also, we need to teach them how to take good decisions because those decisions are going to bring results, good results or repercussions to having a better lifestyle. In this order of ideas, I can say that this experience was so difficult. There were some moments when I thought I wasn't able to do it, but I felt inspired to keep trying. The national practice motivated me a lot because we compared the Caquetas education, and I can say that it can be enhanced in the same way, but it requires a hard work. I know it won't be easy, but it can be possible. Instead of leaving, we should stay, or if we go, we need to come back and implement what we learn in other places. This teaching practice was so meaningful because as practitioners we were reflecting about the different difficulties we had. We talked about how we could make our classes better, what kind of strategies our classmates used, also about the language theories. I consider that the practice by pairs is awesome because we could design the lessons together and you learn from your classmate. You can observe the way he or she teaches and how that can contribute to your role as a teacher. Furthermore, the pair is a help in the classroom to collect the evidence. The students felt a little confused, but we told them that each week they were going to have a different teacher, but they have to ask for permission and those to the one who was teaching, because the other was an observer. In terms of learning and assessment, from my perspective, most of the students learned the majority of words and the grammar structures that were covered during those weeks. The cooperating teachers told us that we had to take into account the book Way to Go, and based on that book we selected the words and the grammar aspects. Our classroom project was about designing posters. We created 5 categories: do exercise, hygiene habits, Colombian dishes, to my best friend, and superheroes versus monsters. The idea with those posters was to make them use the language and the vocabulary in a functional way. We planned to do a final exhibition, but it was impossible. And those were the results of our project. In that way, we could identify students' difficulties to be reinforced later. In brief, during this teaching practice, I could recognize some of the problematics that there are in our region. Furthermore, I could be assessed about my role as a teacher, and I could identify my weaknesses and strengths. And my teaching practice teacher suggested some recommendations to overcome them. Finally, I chose one of the hardest professions, but it's the most rewarding too, because we are going to contribute to make our society a better place to live. We are providing teenagers with tools to have a better future, to look for better opportunities, and that's what we told to our students, that English make your dreams come true if you want to travel, if you want to be a leader, because it is an important language around the world.